All right, let's do it live on a Don't Give Up the Ship. Happy 245th birthday to our nation's Navy edition of the program. I'm merely Beau. He is the great Z. How are you, pal? Is Z there?
Started off with that because this is the only radio studio in the United States of America that is not on military property that has been christened by the Secretary of the Navy, now former Secretary of the Navy, Thomas Modly, great friend of the show. Shout out to him. Shout out to Matt Previtz across the seas. Shout out to the Mac hammer that he's wielding with him as the Browns go 4-1, and he and the Navy doing their work over there. So lots going on. Great way to kick off the show, frankly. Good job out of you. Are
our legions, the millions and millions of legions of fans that listen to this show on a regular basis, are they aware of the story of the Mac Hammer that's making its way around the globe from one naval base to another?
I don't believe that they are.
I mean, this is pretty remarkable.
It is pretty
The Honorable
remarkable.
Mr. Previtz
That's right.
has a sledgehammer that he. Where did he get this? Was it Afghanistan? I don't know. He's always undisclosed location. It's hard. Who knows where it is? Somewhere in the Middle East.
Yes.
And this hammer, this sledgehammer, which is named for the great Mac Wilson, great friend of the program, Mac Wilson.
That's right.
This is the Mac hammer, and it's going from place to place to place. And people will say, why are we taking this? Don't worry about it. It's the Mac hammer.
Yeah, that's on a need-to-know basis, and you don't need to know the Mac hammer. That's right. It's going around, and it's a beautiful thing. And ever since the Mac hammer was instituted, Browns 4-1, as Mac Wilson tweeted out today, 1-0 every week. Mac Wilson, all he knows is winning since he's been out there on the field for the Cleveland Browns. 3 straight, 1-0s.
Simpler times.
Let's go. It's just so wonderful.
Back.
Let's go.
Get back.
He's back.
Get back to it. Get back to simpler times. All I know is winning. Oh, those was pure joy.
Weren't they good? Well, did you see today?
We were guarded.
We
were guarded, though, getting back to the Pure Joy World's team. Yeah, go ahead.
I like it, but did you see that you received a tweet earlier today from Leander, and he said, Beau Bishop, you once told me, hug Baker, it's okay, you can hug him. Beau, is it time to hug Stefanski? I like what I'm seeing. I don't want to get hurt. I need your guidance, Beau Champ.
This is what I would say.
Definitely.
Of course you can hug him. You're winning because of your coach in many instances. He continually puts you in the best position to succeed. Now,
full embrace.
If you're looking for a lot of emotion coming back, probably not going to get any. Flatline.
Right.
From coach.
Which
is beautiful. It's how you want your football coach.
He's focused.
Yeah, he's not going to be, it's steely-eyed focus. Like, you're not going to get big emotional swings. If you're somebody who needs, in a relationship, needs some emotional swings, not going to be there. Steady Eddie.
Hug him, but you let him know that you love him. He's going to let you know, hey, like I was saying all day yesterday, I love this quote. It's Monday. We're here to work. We're here to watch the film and to get better. That's what he's focused on. You hug him, he'll be watching tape while you hug him, and that's okay. That's what we want from our coach.
That's right. That's absolutely right. As we get into the OBM Hot Topics, Ohio Business Machine, preferred copier provider of your Cleveland Browns. They have all the X's and O's for your office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. It is Steelers week. It matters. We have not beaten Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh since 2003. Oh, why am I seeing your ring on the stream? All of a sudden I was getting a ring.
This? Oh, is it all?
You were giving me this.
Oh, because I'm waiting for Gibbe to let me in on the surface so I can get off my phone. So the phone's over here. I'm over here. My left hand's going. I'm fired up.
Okay.
It's Steelers week, but you said 2003. So what?
2003.
We hadn't been 4-1 since 1994. Check that off the box. There we go.
Two Z's.
Double Z.
Now you're streaming on both your phone and the surface.
Double
Two
Z.
angles.
It's
multiple.
The double Z.
It's too much Z.
There. It's
there.
Too much.
Solo Z.
Back to a single Z scenario. Now, 1994. That was the last time we were 4-1. Check that off the box. 1968. That was the last time we'd scored 30 or more 3 straight games. Check that off the box. You think I'm afraid of 2003? No. Guess what? You know who else isn't afraid of it? And Mike Tomlin knows it. He said it. Mike Tomlin said, you think Kevin Stefanski's worried about the past? You think Joe Woods is thinking about 2003? No. They're thinking about coming in here and winning. And Mike Tomlin's presser today, by the way, great. Asked about Myles Garrett. First thing he said,
was great.
We're not taking that low-hanging fruit. We're not interested in your reality TV storylines. This is a huge
Above
game.
The fray.
This is a huge game.
I'm not putting up with the nonsense.
4-0.
I'm not putting up with the nonsense.
No, not interested.
That's right.
Love it.
That's right.
Love it.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly how it's going to go. Gibby wants us, and it's early. Usually we're not going to get into all the X's and O's until probably tomorrow and Thursday when we get into the matchups and welcome us to Steelers Week officially. But early here on a Tuesday wants to go our top 2 reasons why the streak can end on Sunday, Dr. Z.
Well, number 1 for me, and you might find a little bit of this in the written word this week.
Oh, when will I weep?
Perhaps tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Maybe even
an
today.
Inspired.
I don't know.
Whitman.
Oh,
inspired.
Yeah. It's the matchup to watch.
Steelers Week, 4-1. Whoo.
This is just
high expectations for this.
Just a little sliver. We'll obviously dive more, deeply into this as the week progresses. But why? Number 1.
Sure. You're safe.
T.J. Watt, Bud Dupree, last year, 26 sacks, 12 forced fumbles. So far in 2020, 7.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 1 interception through the first 4 games of the season. The Steelers, despite playing in only 4 games, which is something that only 4 teams in the NFL can say at this point, the Steelers lead the NFL in sacks and sack yardage, despite playing 1 fewer game than all but 3 teams in the league.
Jeez.
But we've got Jack Conklin. Jack Conklin, he's given up just 4 pressures this season, 11th overall in pass blocking efficiency, 6th overall in Pro Football Focus's passing grades. Jedrick Wills, 7 pressures all season, 31st overall pass blocking efficiency, 17th best tackle in terms of pass blocking grades. In fact, the Browns are the only team in the NFL to have their tackle tandem both be ranked in the top 20 of Pro Football Focus's pass blocking grades thus far. So what they do is come at you from the edges. What we do is say, no. You're not coming here.
Not so fast.
Brick wall.
Not so fast. No, that's a fascinating mashup, and I'm glad you brought up Conklin because obviously we spent a lot of time in the first quarter of the season talking about Wyatt Teller and how great he's been. Conklin's been every bit of that, not to Teller's level because he's historic, but he's on pace to be the first-team All-Pro right tackle in football as well. When you talk about, according to PFF, we had the first-team right guard and right tackle in all of football in the first quarter. First-team All-Pro. And Conklin's been great, and Wyatt's week to week, so obviously you can read into that what you want. Hopefully the week goes well for him. You saw the report about a second opinion. But Conklin's been elite, and we have somebody like Hubb who's ready to step in the case of Wyatt not being able to go, and that's really what it'll be about. It will be, and you ought to be able to run the ball on this type of defense. It's tough if you get behind. If you have to chase, it's not a good recipe. But if you can establish yourself, and we ought to be able to establish ourselves with Kareem Hunt running the ball. We saw it with Philly last week, and Philly doesn't have the weapons we are. They were able to get Miles Sanders going early, had the big long run early. It gets them a little bit on their heels a little bit. You can't chase Pittsburgh. No, because if Watt and Dupree go nuts, you're in trouble.
And the way to do it, that Miles Sanders run, I'm glad you brought that up. That it's just a perfect transition into my second point, which is you can run to the left on this team. You can run at Bud Dupree. Dupree right now this season, amongst all edge rushers, has struggled against the run. He is a guy that ranks towards the bottom. 50th out of 68 in terms of run defense amongst edge defenders, 6th worst tackling grade amongst all edge defenders. Run the ball at Bud Dupree, run it behind Jedrick Wills. He's going to be lined up on Wills. Watt's going to be on Conklin. Run it behind Joel Bitonio. We saw on that 3rd and 9, where did we go? We went left, first down Browns, Dearness Johnson. So you can run it at this team, and one little feather in the cap, and I'm sure T.J. Watt probably remembers this. 2017, lone meeting between Jack Conklin and T.J. Watt. Jack Conklin at the time a member of the Tennessee Titans. T.J. Watt in that game, 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits. Good job, Jack Conklin.
Yeah, it really was. This is going to be a fun week. This is going to be a lot of fun this week. Kyle Brandt will join us coming up at the bottom of the hour. It's always good to hear him. He was fired up for us, as he always is, so he joins us from, of course, the excellent co-host of Good Morning Football will join us here at the bottom of the hour. How about the game last night, my friend? Chargers uniforms, spectacular. They're just spectacular. They look so great every time they play. I'm wrong on Herbert, dead wrong. I've seen enough to know that he's not going to be a bust. I don't know if he'll be great, but he's going to be good. He's going to be good. The 2 touchdown throws he made, those are level route concepts where there's guys in the same spot at different levels, and to put them over the top of defenders and guys running routes underneath into the back of the end zone for touchdowns was awesome. The throw to Williams at the end was awesome. Frankly, he's undone by his kicker. But this is 2 weeks in a row where he has played better than Breeze and equal to Brady in back-to-back weeks on the road. The kids got it. I was dead wrong.
And he played great against Mahomes. I mean, they were right in that game till the very end. So I like him a lot. As we said, that was the worst kept secret at the Combine this year, was that Justin Herbert was going
they loved him.
to the LA Chargers. It's working out a little bit better, I would say, so far for him than the worst kept secret 2019, which was Danny Dimes to the New York Football Giants. Yeah, he looks good. Breeze still doesn't look good to me. I don't care what his final stats are. I don't care that he threw. He still can throw the ball 40 yards in the air to wide open Jared Cook. Like, I mean, people are acting like, well, that answers all the questions.
Or like the Kamara catch where Kamara makes the circus catch.
Just unbelievable. I still go back to saying, though, them getting Emmanuel Sanders was one of those little under-the-radar transactions that was a very, very good move for that team. He is very underrated, always a good receiver. And, they get their bye now. They'll get Michael Thomas back. I'm still surprised how easy it is to throw on their defense. That was the staple. Remember when Marshawn Lattimore for a time was being talked about like the next Revis or Richard Sherman or, that elite level? I don't know what's happened to him. Marcus Williams has not been the same player since giving up that big ball to Minnesota at the end of that game from Case Keenum with that walk-off to Stephon Diggs. He has never kind of recovered from that. Malcolm Jenkins, I guess at this point, not the same cover player that he was. It's crazy. One guy on their defense, Cam Jordan's great. They got Davenport back. That other pass rusher they have, 91, had 2 sacks early in the game, and it is clearly a good player off to a great start this season. But, gosh, wouldn't it be something if Demario Davis was still wearing brown and orange? I mean,
oh, gosh.
He's the best player on the field, always. So good, so talented, and just such a great guy. Yeah. That's one that I think we'll look back at, Demario Davis for Calvin Pryor. Maybe want to have that one back.
Yeah. If I'm a Chargers fan, and there's probably 7 of them in the entire country from what I can tell. I don't know that anybody's a Chargers fan. But if you are a Chargers fan, I would say that what the message that you ought to get through and get done by the end of the season, whatever the record ends out, is this quarterback, and I think this coach, I think Anthony Lynn's doing a heck of a job. I think he's doing a heck of a job. And I think the players love him, and I think you have something that you can really build here with this coach and this quarterback going forward. I don't know if it's going to manifest in a great record this year. They're 1-4, so it probably won't. But they've been in every game. This kid was thrown into the fire, and he's been prepared and ready. And they look dangerous. Meantime, the NFC South, you think about what Theodore's done in Carolina, winning a couple of games now. You think about what's happening with Brady in Tampa Bay after the loss to Chicago, and now the Saints. This was thought to be, a lot of people, preseason, this was the second best division in football behind the NFC West. That's clearly not the case. The AFC North, if it's not the best, is 1A to the NFC West, and I'm not sure we're not 1A, and they're 1B in terms of what we've seen through 5 weeks of the season. We'll know more going forward. One tonight as well. We've got a game tonight, Coach. This one's going to happen. All the positive tests come back negative in Tennessee, and so there will be a game played. I don't know who's going to play receiver for Tennessee, but Tennessee's going to play a game tonight. My guess is you're going to see a lot of Derrick Henry. Probably about 38 carries for him is my guess.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the Bills are very well prepared for that, and they're going to their entire game plan is going to be about stopping Derrick Henry. This is a very unique game. I'm actually stunned that Vegas is accepting scores on this game, accepting action on this game, because
it's minimal,
which is again stunning, which leads me to believe that
they
up is down and down is up in 2 weeks, and it's just a field goal and a hook will bring you back.
Wow.
Does that make any? It doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't. Of course, it doesn't.
No spoiler alerts here, but I imagine I'm pretty resolute in what I'm going to do in this game.
Same.
And so it's just this is going to be a fascinating game to watch unfold in terms of what the Titans are capable of. The Bills, though, I have to imagine were preparing for the Titans, but also had to be preparing for the Chiefs, because had this game gotten called off, they're playing the Chiefs on Thursday Night Football.
I would assume that they did both last week, that up until – that's a good point. Like, you would have spent the whole week on the Titans. Once that game's postponed, you think, well, all right, let's put it into the Chiefs. Now that's not happening until Sunday. Meantime, this game's put in there. But, again, I don't know who's even going to be playing for Tennessee. You know Corey Davis is out. You know that Humphreys is out. I mean, you're talking – Brown is back, so that's a positive. Yep. They do get him back.
Jonnu Smith.
And Lawan's back. So they have that they could do. But there's not a whole lot. And I just think like an NFL team – there's no precedent for an NFL or a high-level college team not practicing for 2 weeks and then playing a game.
Yeah.
There's no example of that. I mean, they have not practiced. So who knows what type of shape they're going to be in. I just don't believe that you can miss that much time. I just don't. So going to be an interesting one. We will pick the scores on that coming up a little bit later. Go ahead, buddy.
And what happens in this game from a health standpoint? For example, let's just say the Titans suffer what seems to be an inordinate amount of injuries in this game. Then it's going to call into question whether or not, because player safety is not just COVID, it's also player safety. And
yes,
it will call into question, can we do this where we're shutting down facilities and not letting people be around each other and then still asking them to go out and play NFL games? So this one has a lot going on with it in terms of the ramifications of it going forward. I think the NFL, and the one thing, it's weird because I haven't heard this touted by the NFL, but if you're the NFL, to me, the biggest takeaway through the first 5 weeks of the season is that there has not been a single example of a known in-game transfer of coronavirus. In that you knew the Titans had some, but it never ended up with the Vikings. You knew that the Patriots had some, and clearly I think Gilmore probably was positive during the game against Chiefs, but it did not impact the Chiefs. That is
correct.
And that needs to guide some of the policies of what we do going forward in terms of this league and finishing out this regular season. I do believe as they explore for the playoffs, and they're exploring now the neutral site bubble ideas, that would not surprise me much because there's too much at stake. Now, who knows? By January, we could potentially be in a different place as a country as it pertains to treatment. I don't think we'll be in a different place in terms of spread, but we could be in a different place.
Or spread, but treatment.
In terms of treatment. So
we're in a different place now than we were in March and April. I mean, there is treatment now that is showing some success, so there are positives to be had there. Lots to get to on the program today. As we mentioned, Kyle Brandt going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Coming up next, we will go around the league, as Z touched on right there, the NFL floating around some postseason bubble ideas that we will get into a little bit. We will do that coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Back here to Cleveland Browns Daily. Beau Bishop here for my great friends at Raising Cane's. On game day or on a Tuesday, as Jarvis Landry found out today, go for the win with Raising Cane's chicken fingers. Stack your roster with delicious hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce. Huddle up with crispy, crinkle-cut fries, coleslaw, and buttery Texas toast. Top it all off with freshly made tea and lemonade. Visit the newest Raising Cane's on Brook Park Road in North Olmsted, right behind Great Northern Mall. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love, and delivered to Jarvis today. So it's a nice job there.
Yes.
We have some movement on our practice squad. Good doctor.
We do. The Browns have signed tight end Jordan Franks and tackle Timon Paris to their practice squad. To make room on the roster, the team released tight end Kyle Markway from the practice squad. Franks, 6'4", 246, a 2018 undrafted free agent signing by the Bengals from Central Florida. Appeared in 6 games for the Bengals in 2018, spent the entire 2019 season on the team's practice squad. He most recently spent time on the Eagles practice squad, but was released last month. He has registered 2 catches for 37 yards in his career. Paris, 6'6", 315, entered the NFL as an undrafted free agent out of Stony Brook and signed with Washington in 2018. He appeared in 4 games with Washington before he was released during the final roster cuts this year. So obviously someone familiar to Bill Callahan. Most recently, he was on the Falcons practice squad, but was waived last month. And that's really not the only practice squad note I think we need to share. The Dallas Cowboys took advantage of, you can protect people on practice squads, but there is a window from Sunday until Tuesday where teams can claim somebody, and Garrett Gilbert has been claimed by the Dallas Cowboys, signed off of the Browns practice squad. He now must be on the Cowboys active roster for at least 3 weeks. That, of course, due to the fact that Dak Prescott has gone on IR. Andy Dalton now their starter. But for the Browns, now you're looking at a situation where you didn't carry 3 because of this rule. Not that necessarily bit you. Still have Baker Mayfield and Case Keenum both healthy, but something to consider, and certainly something that it could have an impact going forward for the Browns.
Yeah, you'd be on the lookout for anybody who played in this system in the last 5, 6. I mean, there's a lot. The system's been around a lot, so you'd want anybody who had played in this system, been in the verbiage, whether it was in Minnesota or San Francisco or Atlanta years ago. You'd be looking for any of those type of guys to come in on a practice squad if you could get them. You mentioned this in the previous segment. Gibby wants to know, can I interest you in NFL postseason bubble after Wild Card Weekend? Per The Athletic, it might not be far off. Dallas and L.A. would be the locations. No, you can't interest me in this. Not interested. I would rather play the AFC and NFC championship games at the sites of the teams that earn them. I'm not interested in seeing an AFC championship game in Los Angeles if the Chargers aren't involved, or in Dallas in the NFC if the Cowboys aren't involved. Now, you got to do whatever you got to do to deliver it. Sure. I get it, and we don't know where we're going to be with the disease by the time it comes to January, but I would hope that this is a last resort type situation. That's what I would hope.
Same. And that's what it's got to be, because football, there is something about, even without the fans, seeing the stadiums in which the games are supposed to be played, that makes a difference. And I think, you hope by then, it seems like more and more stadiums are having fans. For example, in Nashville tonight for the Titans, they will have fans for the first time at Nissan Stadium. So I would not want to see that. That would be a last resort. Now, what I would wonder is, would they be able to bring fans into those games? So while it would be a bubble for the players and the staff, would fans be permitted into the stadiums? Because it's a much different experience than the NFL.
I don't know how it
NBA.
could be in LA. I don't know how it could be in LA. I don't know how you could do fans in LA. I mean, California's just such a different place. In Texas, you'd probably put 70,000 in there if you wanted to, the way Texas is. So I don't know. It just would depend probably on where you are. It's a great question. It's a great question. I think here's a couple of things. Number one, I think that there's no doubt that it hurt the NHL, the NBA, Major League Baseball not being played at home venues. Now, baseball played at home venues till the playoffs, but like, for example, watching the Dodgers last night, the team of my youth playing in Texas in the NL Championship Series, I'm going, well, wait a second, why can't we just do this at Chavez Ravine? Like, right. They're playing the other series there. Why aren't we just continuing to do it there? It takes something out of it. I think the NBA suffered from this, where it felt like every game was an AAU game because everything was at that same environment. You weren't at Staples. It suffers, even if there's nobody there. It suffers a little bit. And I will say that football, the NFL, more than any other sport, you notice it because you're there, fans are not. And you do notice it a little bit on TV, fans are not. But it's not as egregious as it is in the other sports.
and the stadiums, much like baseball, not so much like basketball, whereas the stadiums themselves have a certain character and a certain look that lends itself to the atmosphere. That's what baseball's missing, as you mentioned, Chavez Ravine. If the Red Sox were playing and they weren't playing at Fenway Park, that just doesn't make sense. Basketball, the courts look the same. It's what surrounds the guy in the courts and maybe the exterior, but that's not a shot you see a ton in, television broadcasts at all. You see that going in and out of commercials when they show the town. In football, though, the way that the stadium looks is definitely a part of it. Every stadium is fairly unique in the NFL, much like baseball. And so, I think you would really lose something, especially turning it into an all-indoor playoff, which is what it would. Dallas and LA would be all indoors. I wouldn't like that at all, especially if you think about, look, right now, we look like we are a team on a trajectory for the playoffs. We've got a lot of work to do to get there, period. We've got even more work to do, and it's some work that we can address this week to try to get a home playoff game, which would come with winning your division. It would be an absolute travesty for the good people of this great city, Cleveland, Ohio, to have this football team host a playoff game in the year 2020 and not get to have it be in Cleveland on the shores of Lake Erie.
Yeah,
so
it would be.
Let's not do it. If you want to put the teams in hotel bubbles for the playoffs, where like they have they're in a bubble in their city, give them a hotel.
Fine.
Nobody outside's allowed in. That's it. That's the list. Fine. But no, let's not go to a bubble because
I don't want the sterile atmosphere.
Too much emotion. Think about the Bills. Who doesn't want to see a Bills home playoff game?
Of course.
Of course you do.
Yep, in that stadium. Of course you do. Who doesn't want to hear Kyle Brandt on this program? Of course you do. We'll get to next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. You're welcome. Are you a sports fan looking for a part-time weekend job? Get into the action at First Energy Stadium, home of your Cleveland Browns. Wes is now hiring part-time event staff and security. Easy to do. Apply online at weshiring.com. We have the Monday shows with Joe are pure joy, but there is so much to get into, and it goes so fast. Usually at the end of the Joe Thomas hour, we look at each other and go, "What? It's 2:30? That's where we're at?" And sometimes we miss things. So a couple of things that you're not on. There you're on. A couple of things that we. There you are. There you are. A couple of things that we missed that jumped out to you, good doctor, are what?
Well, on the offensive side of the ball, it was the return, obviously, as we talked about. The return of David Njoku was there. And so you saw kind of the tight ends. Harrison Bryant went without a catch. Njoku had 1 for 6 yards, which is that big third down. Austin Hooper, though, 10 targets, a season-high 10 targets, 5 catches, 57 yards for him. Odell, 9 targets, 5 catches, 58. Jarvis, 9 targets, only 4 catches. Remember, he came into this game with 17 catches on 19 targets in 4 games. 9 targets, 4 catches, 88 yards, though still staying at 10 yards a target. Hollywood Higgins, 3 targets, 3 catches, 31 yards in the touchdown. Dating back to last year now, 2 of Hollywood Higgins' last 5 catches have been touchdowns. All he does, what was that? All he does? Catch touchdowns, like Chris Carter. That's it. So offensively, there's that aspect of it. There's also the aspect of it, which we have not talked about much, is that Chris Hubbard had never played guard before in a regular season game. And Chris Hubbard.
Is that true?
That is true.
I knew he could do it, but I didn't know that he hadn't done it in a game.
He had never done it in a regular season game. The only time he'd ever played guard before with the Steelers was in a preseason game. And in fact, he said he got 1 rep at guard in practice this entire week and went out there and put together one of the better performances of the week at that position. And I think that's one of the things that it's nothing short of incredible. Chris Hubbard was the 6th highest graded player on the Browns in this game. He had a tremendous performance against a very good, as we know, a very good Indianapolis Colts defense. And so it's that kind of veteran leadership. And Hubbard for the game allowed a grand total of 1 pressure. To step into that kind of a position where you haven't played and you're dealing with DeForest Buckner, Autry in the middle of that defense is a very good performance by Chris Hubbard. So that's something on the offensive side that we didn't really get into. Another thing I want to talk about real quickly, if people were wondering, just from a snap count perspective. Wide receiver, Hollywood Higgins, 17 snaps as the slot receiver. Donovan Peoples-Jones, 4 snaps as a slot receiver. And all 4 of Donovan Peoples-Jones snaps, it says on here, run in terms of blocking, were run blocking. So this was a game where you're seeing.
He ran a route, though.
He did. Hold on. I'm pulling that up. I was wrong. 10 snaps. I was on just the blocking stat. So it's 40 snaps for Higgins, 6-10 for Donovan Peoples-Jones. So that's a new trend here at the 3rd receiver spot. It was Hollywood Higgins for the most part. Donovan Peoples-Jones, 6 routes, 4 blocking. When Higgins was in the game, 23 routes, 17 blocking. So no tell whatsoever. Equal 50-50 on the blocking for him. I mentioned Hubbard. In terms of the running backs, it was Kareem Hunt, 51 snaps. Dearness Johnson, 22 snaps. We also had, for the first time all year, Kendall Lamb getting in there as the extra reporting eligible tight end, got his first snap of the season in that regard. Defensively, this is something, again, we did not get into, but Kevin Johnson, Cover Johnson as we like to call him, is back. Cover Johnson, 41 snaps as the slot corner. Nobody else played a snap in the nickel. If there was a nickel corner on the field, it was he. MJ Stewart got in there the one time we mentioned that dime package without the safety. So that was that. Linebackers, and I thought this was interesting. B.J. Goodson, 47 snaps. Malcolm Smith, 37 snaps. So he was second among all linebackers in terms of snaps. I know got a game ball from the coaches after the game. They love the way he's played. Spent some time with Joe Woods with the Niners. Well. And he's come in and he's played very well. And he's been great in coverage. In fact, he's been our best cover linebacker so far this season. 19 snaps for Mack Wilson, 15 snaps for Sione Takitaki, 9 for Jacob Phillips, who re-aggravated that knee injury.
So that's where you see, just slowly getting Mack back, week in, week out, trying to get him back to where, he was in camp before the injury. And the Kevin Johnson one was explained as the previous week he was practicing primarily on the outside in the event that Denzel Ward couldn't play. Denzel did, so they didn't want to throw him right to the fire against a Dallas team, frankly, that is absurdly talented at receiver.
We got Kyle.
Back to his role. And those three will be tested mightily come Sunday, because that's a full day's job. And I'll be curious to see how we go about our business in terms of matching up with those Steelers receivers who are not as overall talented as Dallas.
We got Kyle.
With the emergence of Claypool, do offer something that the Cowboys and nobody we've placed to this season do, which is a big dude in Claypool who is powerful and strong and a force for somebody to have to deal with, certainly. Do we have Kyle? That's
Yep.
All right. Let's head out on the Fifth Third Money Line. Our good friend Kyle Brandt, Good Morning Football host on the NFL Network, and, of course, host of 10 Questions on Spotify at The Ringer, joining us. Kyle, we got a lot of football, but I just have to give you one compliment.
Okay.
In all of this pandemic, I have not laughed harder at any sort of entertainment than you and Simmons doing Teen Wolf Rewatchable. It's probably the funniest thing in 6 months that I've heard, dude. Good job out of you.
Well, you know what? Thank you very much. When you started that, I was like, God, where the hell is this going? He's going to rip the rug out. He's going to say something embarrassing. And I said, of all of the choose your own adventure paths you could have gone for, me and Bill Simmons saying that Moose is annoying and talking about werewolf teen sex was not where I thought you would go, but I'm glad you did, man.
Well, it was somebody who saw Styles the way I saw Styles, is just pure joy. I mean, that's what you need in life.
He feels the movie. Styles, played by the great, the immortal Jerry Levine. Styles is the heart of that movie. He's a good dude. He's an entrepreneur. He's there for Scott. He's got a little adventurous side. I absolutely love the guy, and I hope I can run into him someday. I'll buy him a beer or take him on a surf ride on top of my truck.
It's a win all the way around. It's been a win for us, man, and you've been one of our champions. You and Nate on Good Morning Football have been our champions here with the Browns. I know we burned you a year ago, and I don't know if you feel like you want to hug us yet, but at 4-1 and looking really competent offensively, and certainly this doesn't feel fluky at all to us. What do you like so far of what Kevin Stefanski's done here with the Browns?
Oh, I want to do more than hug. I'm rounded second base, man. I absolutely love it because, you know, I did get burned last year, and I said, I don't care. I'm buying in. I like Baker. I'm even buying on Freddie Kitchens, this crazy old Yogi Berra type, and then, you know, you look terrible, and everyone on social media tells you should be fired and drug test and all that. And sure enough, this August, same question comes up. You can see it there on the bottom of the screen of every show and every network. Do you believe in the Cleveland Browns? And I scream yes. I scream yes before the question is even asked. And because I just believe in talent if there's the right coach. I kept running this full screen, this lame TV talk for a graphic, you know, and it was just the Browns offensive huddle. And this was when it was Odell and Jarvis and Njoku and Hooper and Kareem and Chubb. This is the most talented huddle in the NFL. There's no team in the world that is more talented than this. And then again, I would say that and annihilated with extreme prejudice, not by Steelers fans or, you know, Ravens fans, just by people who just don't want to hear that the Browns might have a shot of being good, because people don't like it. They like the Browns to be their team to pick on and to make jokes and memes about, and they just like it that way. They've always sucked, and they're always going to suck, and we're always going to make fun of them. Well, I'm sorry, they're 4-1, and they do have one of the most talented offenses. That's despite losing a couple of those guys. So I absolutely am in love with Kevin Stefanski. I think it is the first time since college that Baker has had a real sentient, wise, erudite head coach, and we're seeing what's happening now. It's 4-1, and I got to tell you, those commercials of his, way funnier when they're 4-1. I like them. I want to be in that book club.
I think you can get in that book club, Kyle. I think that certainly would be.
I want in.
I think we'll put in a word for you. We'll see what we can do from our 10 feet of distance away from all the Browns players. We'll see what we can talk to Baker about that. Now, Kyle, when you think about this team, this organization, top to bottom, I mean, is it the Ivy League that really is that what gets you going about this team? Because it's one thing, you know, people like to talk about and they say, oh, the Ivy League, yes, they're very smart, but they don't know football. And yet, look at what you're doing. Look at this organization, top down. That's what you're getting. And you mentioned erudite. What a great word. We're dropping SAT words on people, and that's part of the reason this team's 4-1.
Well, I have to give credit. I learned erudite in the Baker Mayfield book club. I think it was in the Scarlet Letter. We talked about that, and I highlighted it for conversation. No, it has nothing to do with the Ivy League. first of all, it's not going so great for Jason Garrett with the New York Giants. And I believe Stefanski went to Penn. I hate Penn. I mean, the day I die, I will hate the Penn Quakers. They, when I was there, were like the U of the Ivy League, like the Miami Hurricanes, bad boys, hit late, talk late, lowest admission standards. They get pretty much anybody in. I can go on a whole tangent about Penn. So I should hate Stefanski. I do not hate him. I love him. And it's mostly just, listen, I said last year, sure. Freddie Kitchens, I'm in. I like it. He says funny things. The Baker seems to like him. It was ridiculous. It's completely ill-suited. I always hate when they take the guy after they fire the coach and make him the guy who was the interim and hire him as the head coach just because they like him and they got the momentum. No, that was like a Disney movie, Hockey Mom Presidents or something like that, where Freddie Kitchens was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. I wish him well. Seems like a great guy. But no, we need someone to take that huddle that they have there who is, whatever you want to say, scholarly, erudite, just plain old smart, and it's working. Don't you think the Browns' offense just looks so smooth? He looks so in control of it. Even when it's not working, it's not embarrassing. It's not like, I don't know what the hell these guys are doing. It's like you can see, they were trying to do that, and the pass got broken up. It's like it's so refreshing, and I think it all goes to the head coach.
It does. They've taken on not only his personality and his acumen, but as we like to say in the show, like a little Sade. He's a smooth operator, Kyle. That's what Kevin Stefanski is. It is just steady the whole way, but he will go. And don't let that smooth demeanor fool you, because you see him go for the jugular. We'll throw reverses at you at the end of the game. We'll throw wide receiver passes at you. We'll run it on 3rd and 9 because we believe that this team can do it. And which leads me to one question. And I know this is the one when we were pumping you up that you were going to be on the show, and everybody was very excited out here in the Browns family and the Browns land. How could this team be leading the National Football League in running with two of the most physical guys to ever play running back? And I don't even know. I know we haven't had the scepter. I would have seen it come through. There would have been a big parade down Lou Groza Boulevard. Where's the Angry Run scepter for the Cleveland Browns?
It's fair. It's a fair question. It's a matter of time. Kareem Hunt has won the Angry Run segment before. He won it. Yeah, when he was still a member of the Chiefs, and he won it resoundingly. Nick Chubb, I'm on record. I think Nick Chubb is the best player on the Browns, and that includes Myles Garrett. As much as I think Chubb is their best player on any position on the roster. I don't care if you disagree with me. I'm a massive, massive fan of his. And he's also won Angry Runs. We gave out a crown last year. Now that we moved to the scepter, it's only a matter of time. It's just you got to get in line a little bit because you got these maniacs with the Bills and the Titans who are winning it, and Josh Allen is just running over people and stepping on their face. He won it. So it's only a matter of I can't think of anything better, guys, to hand out an Angry Run scepter than Browns Steelers. I mean, that screams Angry Runs. That feels like Jerome Bettis, I don't know, Ernest Biner, late career Jamal Lewis. I don't care who it is. Somebody will get it, and I think it'll be next week.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the first time in a long time that this one's mattered for both. I mean, it's 4-0, 4-1. This is a rivalry. I'm a man. I'm 40, so I have some context of those games in the 80s. Not much though, and I certainly don't. If you're under 35, you don't remember the '94 Browns. It's been that long. I mean, for this rivalry to matter, this is the first one in a long time. Going to be special.
It's weird because it's not only are the Browns 4-1, but you've seen the thing that's out there. The Steelers with Roethlisberger have never been 4-0, which is so strange. But listen, I'm older than Mike Gundy was. I'm 41 now, so I don't remember a ton of stuff from the early 80s. But damn, I remember them. I remember Kelly Holcomb and William Green. I feel like that was the last time we really sunk our teeth into something. But again, that's why it's cool, and that's why I root for teams like the Browns. And you know what's crazy is not only the Browns are good, the Bills are really good. I mean, what's that? The Lions? It's crazy, and I root for it. I get tired of the same old Patriots, Steelers, Packers. I want parity. I want something different. And it's cool because if they win this, 5-1 is a ridiculous record. You know what's cool about it? If they beat Pittsburgh this weekend, they're going to the playoffs. The Cleveland Browns are going to the playoffs. They're not. I don't even think they're capable of blowing a 5-1 record to miss out on a wild card. I look at it. I don't care if it's a jinx. I look at this as like a play-in game. If they beat the Steelers this weekend, the damn Browns are going to the playoffs. I'm ready to have a party for it.
I'll have a party for it. And before I have my ribeye at that party, I'm going to start with the Caesar salad, Kyle, because I think while it is always
No, this is very disappointing,
we're
Kyle.
very sad about this. Yes, and I hear what you're saying.
Okay.
It's steady. It's everywhere. It's good. But a great Caesar salad, I believe, can be transcendent, and it is the perfect entree, the perfect on-ramp to just a wonderful steak. And there's there's
hold
value
on
in
a
that.
second. Let's slow it down. All right, listen. There's no transcendent Caesar salad.
Oh, I disagree.
I love the
a
Caesar
tableside
as much as the next
Caesar.
guy.
Made by a
Caesar's
maestro
good.
who's been doing it for 50 years, grinding it with the mortar and pestle. There's something artistic about it, and it can be transcendent. It was the salad that changed my life. I mean that sincerely.
I think it's a matter of weight class. A Caesar salad, even the greatest one at the nicest restaurant, there's a limited ceiling. I don't care if you got the crispest romaine and they bring that big old bed knob looking thing and grind the pepper and they got the seasoned fruit. It still doesn't have the ceiling of, say, a properly cooked ribeye or an amazing pizza or
Fair.
a perfect burger. So this is my point. I don't dislike Caesars. Nobody dislikes Caesar salad. I like them fine. Just like I like Andy Dalton fine. That's why we're talking about Caesar. Andy Dalton isn't bad. Andy Dalton isn't even average. I think Andy Dalton's good. I'm not saying he's great. He's got a limited ceiling of a Caesar salad in a league that is peppered, so to speak, with every single piece of prime rib and baby backs and beef ribs and burgers. It's a lot.
God.
It's a lot. Tough to go out there in a Caesar in a barbecue world.
I just want you to consider this last perspective. Just to
Go
consider
on.
it. I see
Go
the
on.
Caesar salad like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's still pretty good, but it can be great. Not always the main event, but it can be great.
All right. This is what I would say to that. There's another expression where there's no such thing as bad pizza or bad sex. Anybody who believes that hasn't had very much of either. Let me just tell you that. They both exist, sometimes simultaneously, and I don't buy in either of them.
Kyle, this was pure joy, buddy. We love you on the show. We love the show in general, and thank you for being such a fun ambassador for the game and for giving us a little bit of your time today, my friend.
Guys, these waves are mine.
Styles, ends with Styles. It's fantastic. Kyle Brandt, Good Morning Football host. Of course, check out his podcast, 10 Questions, on Spotify and The Ringer. He joined on the Fifth Third Money Line. Reminder, all guests who appear on CBD appear via the Fifth Third Money Line. Fifth Third Bank, making Cleveland Browns Daily a Fifth Third better. Much more to come. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. You live and breathe football, you know sometimes keeping your priorities straight can be a challenge. Unfortunately, the same could be true when you gamble. If you find your gambling has affected other parts of your life, they can help. Get tips at responsible gambling at keepitfunohio.com. And before we get into our little game, you can go to keepitfunohio.com or .org and play some of these various games. It's kind of fun. Don't take unnecessary risks. You can start the quiz. You can check it out and keep your gambling in check. keepitfunohio.org. Gibby, you have a poll for us to contemplate here. Last week it was survival rates for all of us in the wilderness. Dropped into the wilderness. I believe I won.
That's right.
By a small margin. Small margin.
Yes.
I
but it also
it's okay.
You finished second, Z third. Sad.
Disrespectful to my background and my upbringing that was well documented and provided great joy for many of our listeners.
It's all right. I celebrated by taking a chainsaw to a tree over the weekend, took it down, cut it up.
Oh.
You know.
A chainsaw
fell
a
tree.
A chainsaw that you would not have under this scenario, by the way.
No, you would not. That's true.
Fine. It's okay. Remember, I'm bringing fire to the party. Right off the bat, I'm winning.
You
It's
get
fine.
fire right away. That's right. That's all he needs. That's all he needs.
Fire. Burn a bunch of stuff. Whatever.
Well, that's all you need. You have fire, you get a starter. That's the most important thing. And we also last week we cleared up the Rambo knife situation because you get a flint in that. You also get a needle and thread and a compass. All of that is in the shaft of the blade.
What a useful tool.
Makes you a
Very
useful
useful.
mammal.
It does.
Well
That's
done.
right. That's right.
Indeed. All right, so I was thinking about this poll question, and I was confident about it yesterday. Today, maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't work.
It will. Just talk confidently.
2 minutes to go in a football game. You need a touchdown.
Okay.
Who's under center? Who do you want under center? Beau Bishop, or the man who wants to play quarterback for the Cleveland Browns in a preseason game or in training camp, Nathan Zegura.
All right. This is fine. This will be fun. Is it now or is it in our prime?
What would you like it to be?
Well, there's no question that the great Z is in a far greater physical state than I am currently. That goes without saying. I'm a man. I'm 40. I like a whiskey, so there's no way that I would be able to play. I mean, I got a bum wheel right now. I can feel the shoulder hurting right now.
just thinking about throwing it.
Just thinking about it. Just like throwing to all my kids' football practice, my shoulder hurts.
All right,
So the idea of
then we'll put
leading
you in
a
your
2-minute
prime.
drill in my prime.
I feel like this might be Zegura's prime right now. Like 2 years
No.
ago, championship.
When I was the prime on my resume is that when I was 23 or 24, I was the quarterback on the team that won the flag football championship for the state of Georgia and got to go to nationals.
The state of Georgia,
where we lost. And if you could imagine, there's some pretty good athletes and football players in the state of Georgia, and I had the privilege of throwing the football to many of them. So that's my peak, and I'm proud of my peak.
That's a proud peak. Yeah. Don't you guys, now that we're all men and we're 40, don't you think that 25 to 28 window is the athletic prime?
That's go a little earlier.
My best.
For me, it was definitely, I would say, 24 into my early 30s is when I really was. That's where I was.
Of course, an elongated peak.
But I was also. It took me a while to get to 200 pounds. Like it was just, that took, even at 6'4", that took a great deal of time for me to be able to have a body that would be able to withstand the rigors of actual competition.
The rigors. Yeah. All right. Well, this will be fun. So
you get to say your peak. Your peak is pretty darn good too. Let's not just gloss. Let's not throw this under the rug. You got to make your one statement here.
There were awards won.
Small school.
Were there not?
I was small school Montana All-State. I'll make it rain out here if you want. I mean, what do you want me to do?
See, now we're talking.
You want to throw it 70 times? We'll sling it 70 times.
Now we're talking.
We were the first team in basically what happened was that I'll do this as quickly as possible. It's nothing more pathetic than talking about your high school glory. So I'll try to do this in a minute.
I like it.
My junior year, it became obvious like 3 games in, and I played quarterback, that we were not physical enough to contend with the teams. And at that point, everyone just ran it. Everything was triple option, run. And so my coach and I, Tom Trammer, the great Tom Trammer and I, we sat down. and they were running the spread. And we said, let's take some of these concepts and put them in, and let's just give it a go. We're not winning anything anyway. So we put these concepts in, and we were the first to do it, and we had some success my junior year. But my senior year, we did set several Montana State records my senior year that have now since fallen because everyone runs a spread. But at the time, set some state records my senior year because we were the only one to run the spread. The negative to that story is that this does not end well, is in my final game, the state semifinal game my senior year, it was about 10 degrees, and it was raining, sleeting, snowing sideways.
Not good
on the
environment
field.
for the
Of course,
spread.
Not good environment.
Not a good environment.
40-mile-an-hour wind coming off the Rocky Mountains, and we were playing in Geraldine, Montana, in the mud and in the muck, and we got beat 44-0. We could not throw it. I think I threw for under 100 yards, and up until that point, I was averaging 360 or something a game. So, could not throw the ball. So that was the melancholy and infinite sadness of the end.
Unfair.
Of it all right
Needed to
there.
be in a dome. You had no chance of losing.
Sad. The thing that stunk was the Friday practice before the weather was perfect. It was perfect. It was like 55 degrees, no wind, nothing. And this front came in and crushed us. Not that we would have beat him anyway, but he could at least given him a go. So there you go. That's it. That's the list. Long, long time ago. You'd crush me now, though. Peak physical you right now, I think.
I don't believe that's
I don't know if you've ever been better.
You never lose.
All right, so we'll put that on the poll.
Going up
We'll
right
put that
now.
on the poll, and we'll put it up right now. We'll see what happens. And that is brought to you by Ohio Lottery. KeepItFunOhio.com. All right, coming up next, a lot of fun with sound that we will play. You'll hear from Baldy on this one. You'll hear from the virtual podium. Hollywood Higgins, we haven't heard from him in a very long time. We'll have that for you. We have scores to get to and a little higher or lower.
Better or
Final hour
worse.
up next. Cleveland Browns Daily. 8:50 ESPN Cleveland. Brilliant Electric Sign Company is Northeast Ohio's largest full-service sign company, serving their clients for over 91 years. Contact the experts at Brilliant Electric Sign to provide you a state-of-the-art signage solution that will grow your business. Visit them at brilliantsign.com. All right, let's hear from some of our friends around football of what they've thought of the Browns' 4-1 start and perhaps their concerns. Let's start with our buddy Dan Orlovsky.
They're 4-1 because Miles Garrett on the team. You know, he should be in the MVP conversation. He's been trending towards becoming dominant for a couple years. This year he's been dominant, and he was dominant again yesterday. That's a big reason why this team has been so good to start this season. Now, the offense has been great. I've been saying for a couple weeks now, like, they're built like the Titans. Come out early in that game, hard ball play action, push the ball downfield, take some leads, and then salt the game away with the run game. They're doing that. Great motion, all that stuff. And Baker early on in this football game was great in the pocket, incredibly decisive, making good decisions, pushing the ball downfield as part, again, of that play action pass. But also the ball distribution. Like, that was really good early on in this game. Baker looked great. But I do have a concern about this football team moving forward. Baker has not been good in the fourth quarters the past couple weeks. The past 2 weeks, they've asked Baker Mayfield to kind of end the game in the pass game in the fourth quarter. The last 2 weeks, he's 7 of 18 in the fourth quarter, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He's got the worst QBR in football. It hasn't shown itself, and Rex, you know this. Winning in the NFL covers a lot of things. It doesn't cure stuff.
Yeah. Stand by.
It's covering some stuff that they're winning. But at some point, they're going to go, Baker, you got to go win the game in the fourth quarter. We need you to go make that throw. And I get a little bit concerned right now that it's not showing itself to be the case.
You're up.
Look, we talked about some of this, leaving some of the plays out on the field that had happened this week in the win over Indy. But the good news is, as Baker said post game, is it's nice to learn in a win, and that's what you're afforded to be able to do here. Make enough plays early, and then. But he's right. That's the one thing we haven't done yet is have to chase a game. We haven't had to do that yet. We tried to in Baltimore, it didn't work. We haven't had to since. That may happen this weekend. It's going to happen sometime in the next 4 or 5 games. So at some point, you're going to have to rely on your past game to go catch up in a game. That hasn't happened yet.
Right. And as I said yesterday, if you play the perfect game and win, it counts the same as playing an imperfect game and winning. Mm-hmm. And so the tools are there. The film is the same. It's just that you don't have any regrets because you still won. And now you can focus on fixing these things so that when that situation does arise. But we've talked about it. Second quarter of the season, the one thing we've wanted to see, and I think we have an opportunity to get to see it this Sunday, is Baker Mayfield be able to play second-half football coming from behind to make a throw that's important, to make a drive that's important, and to win the game when you can't just salt it away. Now, I would say the one time that it's kind of been in doubt, when things hung in the balance, it was 3rd and 12. The Washington football team had just scored 14 unanswered points. The Browns were losing at that point, I believe, 20-17. Mm-hmm. And he drills one into Odell Beckham, extends the drive. The Browns go on to score. The rest of that game is history. What we saw, though, against Dallas at the end, when you just needed to make a 3rd down throw to convert, didn't happen. We saw it again this past week. You needed to make a 3rd down throw to convert, did not happen. The only 3rd down conversion you got when it mattered was D'Ernest Johnson running it on 3rd and 9. So, yes, The best part is we're talking about, again, areas for improvement. And that's what I said. I tweeted out yesterday. Watching this tape, it's awesome. We're 4-1. We just beat a quality football team, and there's still tons of room for improvement. Baker Mayfield wasn't pleased with his performance, and we just beat the number 1 defense in the NFL, and as a team, because it is complimentary football, scored 32 points against them, the most anybody scored against the Colts all season. In fact, they'd given up 11, 7, and 11, which by my calculations is 29. We scored 32. That was the last 3 games combined, by the way. So there is room for improvement. That's what's exciting. Joe Thomas said, in the past when a Browns team beat somebody like the Colts, it's like, man, we played perfectly. That was awesome. Not this time. We beat them, and we didn't play close to perfectly. And there's still a lot of stuff to clean up. Dan Orlovsky's talking about, that in the fourth quarter. We've got to be better under duress. Baker from a clean pocket this year, people said, can he play from the pocket? Yeah. When he's in a clean, protected pocket, and the good news is it's the majority of the time with this offensive line, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception, quarterback rating about 120. Under pressure, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, quarterback rating of 30. So there is still growth for him. Remember, it's his 4th offensive system. There's growth to be had for him, and we're seeing in the game moments of that growth. The key is when you need it to be there, it's got to be there, and that by the end of the season, as we go along this journey, that it becomes more consistently there. And I think we've seen pretty darn good, efficient quarterback play from Baker Mayfield. But we haven't seen him put the team, say, put him on my back. We're going to go get it done. Although you could argue in the first half against the Colts, who I said had been lights out, he threw for over 200 yards, threw about 30 attempts, 2 touchdowns, no picks, when we were averaging 2 yards a carry.
Yeah, it's what you haven't seen yet is that 325-yard, 3 touchdown, 1 pick. You haven't seen that yet. Haven't had to. Probably going to have to in the next 5 or 6 games. It could happen Sunday. In terms of greatness, few greater in this game right now than Myles Garrett. Brian Baldinger, great friend of the program, and the Baldy Breakdown, breaking down Myles and the pressure he put on Phillip Rivers. Let's have a listen.
All defensive players, specifically defensive linemen, on this play right here by Myles Garrett. It's a significant play. Colts are down 27-20 in the fourth quarter when Myles Garrett takes LaRaven Clark in there for Costanzo in this game. And he forces Phillip Rivers, as he hits him, to throw this ball away in the end zone, which is ruled a safety. He doesn't even get credit for a sack or anything. He just got 2 points for the Cleveland team. Go from 27-20 to 29-20 here. And he doesn't even get credit for a sack. Quarterback's throwing the ball away to avoid getting hit by him in the end zone. Browns get 2 points. Myles Garrett.
Stand by.
Nothing. Like, when a defensive lineman forces intentional grounding or a safety, they should at least get credit for the sack.
You're up.
That's awesome. I love the Baldy breakdowns. The enthusiasm is just incredible.
It's great. And he had another one talking about Myles' bend and likening it to Bruce Smith and the way it almost doesn't look human, the angle his body's at, but his feet are still moving on the ground on the sack that he got in Phillip Rivers earlier in the game. But I think his breakdowns are superior, and he's a must-follow at Baldy NFL on Twitter for those who want to get smarter about the game. And he does this for every game. He gives you breakdowns about pretty much everything that's going on in the NFL. Yep. So you can learn a lot about the league and the players in it, the schemes in it, and hear from one of the very best minds about the game and somebody who did it at a high level for a long time.
Yeah, you can. And as you think about it, as great as Myles has been, he still trails Aaron Donald in sacks. Donald's got 7.5. Myles has got 6. That's the level that those two guys are on right now. But Myles starting to inch into, and that's uncharted waters, what Donald's done at the point of his career in terms of being the best, maybe the best defensive tackle in the history of the game. And there's been some very, very good ones. One of the great thrills of this past Sunday's game, for us at least, certainly, and for many of you out there, just because he's such a fan favorite, was seeing Hollywood Higgins get back into the mix, to see him walk down the red carpet again. We know how hard the last year plus has been for him. He was available to the media yesterday for the first time in a very long time. Let's have a listen to that.
Big game for you.
Both down.
Walk down the red carpet. You also had a big block on the big run by Dearness Johnson. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about, do you think it's the emphasis on run blocking at your position that gets you play time?
You know what? It's just knowing that if somebody goes down, that I know I can step in the job and fulfill the needs. You know, Coach O'Shea does a hell of a job of making sure everybody is bouncing around, not knowing one position, but knowing all positions. So when the time comes, like that, you know, I'm able to bounce around any position, and I'm able to get the job done effectively.
I just wanted to ask, obviously you were inactive for a couple weeks there. Was there any frustration about that? And I guess, how did you kind of stay ready for when your number got called?
You know, my coach, his name David Robinson, my receiver coach back in Dallas, he always go about this saying, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You know, I just know it's only a matter of time until my time is coming. You know, so it just so happened to been coach game, and I showed up and did my thing.
Hey, Rashard, what was it like to get in the end zone again and to be able to make that big play, you know, after you said you were waiting for your time to come?
Felt like I've been there before. So it was just like, you know what? I miss you. You miss me. Let's walk together. But it was fun, man. You know, having my teammates just over there and just getting a win. You know, it's been a hell of a journey. You guys know I've been here through the 0-16, and just to see everything turn around is amazing, night and day. And I can't describe the feeling because I'm still living in the moment right now. It's still unreal right now.
Hey, Richard, got a couple quick ones for you. First off, what is it about this team? You mentioned you've been through the worst of it here. During this win streak, there have been some points in the game where things could have easily slid the other way. But that has not happened. What is it about this year's team that has, been able to withstand those negative moments and turn them back into positives and victories?
That's one thing Coach Stefanski always preach on. Team coming in, we're both 3-1. We know at some point in time there's going to be a downfall. Something's not going to go our way, and he always harps on that. So it's already instilled in us to second nature. You know what? Something might happen, but don't let that outcome. Don't let that make or break us. So regardless of the outcome, just keep moving forward. Keep pounding, and at the end of the day, we're going to look up at the scoreboard and see who's on top.
When you hear from people around the league, and you just talked about it, you said it's night and day. When they ask you why this team is legitimate, what's the first thing you say to them?
I say we're sound. We're like a bend but don't break team. And in the past, there's been times where, let's say Baker threw an interception, the team just get down. It's like, nah, you know what? We finna go back out and get the ball back. So we're all feeding off each other's energy. This COVID thing it sucks, but we still have the best fan in the world. Although everybody's not able to come to the games, having the crowd noise and we feed off of that. And in this bubble, we got to feed off each other. So that's exactly how we're playing the game. We're feeding off each other.
The Browns haven't beaten the Steelers in Pittsburgh since 2003. What is it about that place that makes it so tough for the Browns to get over the hump there?
They're always a sound team. Like I've been telling you about us, they're a bend but don't break team, and they always feed off each other's energy. So we got to go in with a clear mindset of, you know what, it's the next game. It's a division game.
1 minute.
It's a huge game for us. But it's the next opponent, so we got to get ready for them. They got to get ready for us.
You've had these stretches before where maybe you're not playing as much, or you have some games in a row where you're not active. How would you evaluate the way Coach Stefanski's handled this situation with you this season? Maybe not playing that much in the last few games, but then you have an opportunity to make a big impact
30
on Sunday.
Coach believes in me. I wouldn't be on the team for no reason. He knows what I'm capable of, and I do it at a high level every time. So he kept me on the team for a reason. He knew he believed in me. He trusted in me, and the whole staff upstairs, they believe in me. They know what I'm capable of.
Stand by.
So, it's nothing to question. I'm on the team for a reason, and when I'm called upon, I got to do my job.
You're up.
All you need to know about Wood is that on the touchdown, the look on his teammates' faces on what it meant.
Completely. And how excited they were to go get to be a part of the red carpet celebration. We love Hollywood. That's one of the toughest parts about this is the guys that, we love and that we have relationships with, that we would get to see sometimes down in the cafe and talk to. It'd be great to say, congrats, Hollywood, for that kind of love. But love him and could not be happier for him to get that opportunity. Like I said, all he does catch touchdowns. Hollywood and Baker, that chemistry is there, and I love, he's saying, I'm not the fastest, I'm not the most athletic, but I'm smart, and I've stayed in this league 5 years. It is hard to stay in the National Football League for 5 years as a wide receiver. You think about all the guys that were drafted by the Browns in that draft class, all the receivers that were drafted in that draft class. He's the one who has been the most productive in his career. He's the one with the most consistent longevity, and I love it for Hollywood. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. We're going to need him. He knows what it's like to play the Steelers. We're going to need him this week.
We absolutely will. We're going to get you a score coming up next. And at the bottom of the hour, we're going to hit you with a little higher, lower, better, worse, sweet spot. All of that still ahead. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Call the medical malpractice attorneys at 1-800-ELK Ohio. Elk and Elk, proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. What do you know? A Tuesday edition of The Scores. Bills, Titans, it's going to happen. I was so thrilled to see the tweet from Pelissaro this morning. All tests negative. Let's play a football game. It's unprecedented. We've never had they haven't played since September 27th. They've practiced once since then. One time.
It's wild. But it is a first Thursday miracle, as I like to say, that we get this game here on a Tuesday. And,
a real first Thursday miracle.
It is a first Thursday edition. This is the only Thursday night football of the week, so it is most certainly
a little sad.
The first Thursday of the week. Indeed, it is. It is a bit sad. I don't understand this one. I feel like it is just so obvious that the Bills are going to just lay the smackdown on the Titans. The Bills have had ample time to prepare for this game. Now, they may have spent some time preparing for Kansas City, as we noted earlier. The Titans haven't been practicing. I just don't –
That's right.
I feel like this is a lopsided matchup. I think this would have been a very good game, both sides at full strength, but I don't see how this doesn't favor the Bills, which is why I also don't understand how anybody who would be going to put down their hard-earned money on the Scores would be doing anything other than putting it on the Bills. But sometimes it is just that easy, but it also leads me to think it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Titans somehow win, and it's this great story and yada, 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 because this is going to be one of those situations where I'd say 99% of the scores are going to be on the Bills. And that's why I say Bills 8 billion, Titans 1.
Same. And I'll tell you, if Tennessee wins this game, then we have to reevaluate how we practice and how much, because there's no reason for them to win. Folks, they have had one formal practice in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, if they win, they're without several players. If they win, then you have to reevaluate the amount of practice time that's needed in high-end athletics, because there's no reason and no excuse for Buffalo not – and Buffalo's good, so there's no reason for them to not put it on them. I think everybody knows that Derrick Henry's going to run it 44 times. I'm sure Buffalo knows that, and they're prepared for it.
My question is, does Buffalo, having seen the struggles of the New England Patriots recently, follow what you just said and say, hey, just let this one slide? We won't be practicing as much going forward. We're doing this. This is about more than just us. This is about everybody, every player that's come before us, after us.
Like, I don't know, maybe push the chips in just to, I don't know. I think Buffalo's better anyway.
Same.
My guess is this would have been 3. Tennessee probably 3, a field goal before all of this. You know, the standard home. So the idea, I guess in that sense, it's a touchdown and a half difference. So very interesting. All right, we hit higher or lower, better or worse, the sweet spot. Before we do that, though, Rumpke Waste Recycling, family-owned and operated since 1932. They've been in business 87 years, keeping neighborhoods clean and green. Their customers, employees, and communities are all part of the family. Visit rumpke.com to learn more. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily. Time for a little game we like to call Betterer or Worserer, higher or lower, just right, the sweet spot. It's brought to you by Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine, the nation's largest medical school, preparing future generations of physicians, pharmacists, and dentists with Brown senior staff writer, the great Andrew Gribble. Sir Andrew joining us, calling in on the Fifth Third Money Line as well. And Gibbe joins. Go ahead, sir.
But
it's your game.
Before we get there, Gibbe, I wanted to point out some of the genius of our listeners and our followers, because I got a great tweet today from Matt Hooper at Matt Hooper 201, and he said, Nathan, Gibbe, Browns Daily, Beau, the East District Athletic Board gets it, and what he had was a copy of the Division II volleyball East District bracket. And if you look real close, you got to go into the fine details. And you see at the bottom of the right, and it says all games at better seed site, because higher seed, lower seed would be confusing. When the higher seed is the lower number and the lower seed is the higher number, nobody knows what to do. But when you just say at the better seed site, everybody gets it.
Everybody
better
gets
or worse.
It. That's incredible.
You're welcome.
What a job.
Thank you, Mr. Hoop.
All games at better seed site.
Yep.
Good grammar. Well done. Killing it.
Better seed.
Matt, by the way, I did like that because that was well played by you.
Yes.
Still.
Good job.
Better. Yeah. Let's work on the grammar. Gribble can help them.
He could. Bit. The written word.
It is. All right. Higher, lower. This week, compliments of Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk. Gribble alerted me this morning. He said, I don't know if we're going to have any higher or lower today because I'm not sure, because there's a game tonight still.
Right.
So everything's got a little asterisk, but ESPN.com put theirs out. Florio put his out and says he'll update his tomorrow after the Buffalo-Tennessee game as long as it gets played. So, Pro Football Talk has their poll out, and at number 11, here come the Cleveland Browns. And what he says, Cleveland fans deserve this based on the schedule. They should get a lot more of it. Agree or disagree with the 11th ranking for your Cleveland Browns? Zegura shaking his head no.
I totally disagree, but it's fine. Keep the hate coming. This is a top 10 football team in the NFL. We're 4-1. We just beat the Colts. No problem. Saints? Really? I like us against the Saints right now on a neutral field. So that alone gets me up one more. And the fact that the Patriots currently are 6th, I know Gribbs loves that, but we don't know who's playing quarterback for them right now. They're not right now the 6th best team in the NFL if it's not Cam Newton. So, yes, we're in the top 10, but that's fine. We'll climb our way up. As I said last week, rung by damn rung. All the way to the top, baby.
Gribble, agree or disagree?
I disagree with Florida's rankings. I agree completely with Nathan, even on the Patriots part. I think the Browns have proven it to this point. They're a top 10 team, 4 wins. I mean, you got a team with 2 wins ahead of the Browns with 4-1. We've played. It's been 5 games now. I was pumped the brakes for a while. Now I think Browns are top 10 easily here.
Bishop?
Listen, you can't be worse than the Saints. You can't be worse than the Saints. You can't be worse than the Titans. They haven't played in 2.5 weeks and have practiced once in that time. And the Patriots, without Cam, right now, no. I'm sorry. I disagree, to answer your question. I disagree.
Which is apparently a new game.
Ranked 11th.
I don't know when this became agree or disagree.
No, because we haven't gotten into the higher or lower portion. I'm asking you just a simple question about the Browns ranking.
Higher, lower, better or worser, or agree or disagree.
Which is, and agree is really another way of saying sweet spot or just right.
Sweet spot or just right, yeah.
All right, let's get into it.
Disagree.
Number 1, the Seattle Seahawks. They're ranked number 1. According to Florio, the Seahawks have made it to 5-0 for the first time ever. Far more importantly, they've made it back to number 1. They can't go higher, but should they be lower? Gribble, we'll start with you.
I'm putting them lower, and I've liked the Seahawks to this point. They're 5-0, and the record speaks to it. But there's just 2 teams that I like a lot better right now, and one of them picked up a loss this weekend. I like the Packers and Chiefs both better than the Seahawks right now, so they're going lower for me.
Zegura.
I mean, whether you want to run for 1 yard or you want to kick a field goal, whatever. But the Vikings should have won that game. Did they? No, they did not. Just like last night, the Chargers should have won that game. Did they? No, they did not. But this Seahawks team is not exactly going out there on their 5-0 and dominating people. They beat the Dolphins by a touchdown. They beat the Cowboys by a touchdown. They barely beat the Patriots, and they beat the Falcons by a touchdown. This is not a team. And the Falcons, not good. Dolphins, not good. Cowboys, not good. Vikings have not been good this year. I mean, it's not exactly like they're taking down a murderer's row, and you've got to worry about a defense that's given up 25, 30, 31, 23, 26 this season. Yes, Russell Wilson is great, and right now he's the MVP. But they're not the number one team in the NFL. Like, the Chiefs would score 70 on them, I feel like.
They may score 70 on the Chiefs, to be fair.
They may.
I mean, like, they'll score right back. Look, you can't. They're so bad defensively. They can't be there now. They're my pick to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I'm not going off of that. They'll get Jamal Adams back. I wonder if I do think they need to make a trade at the deadline to get some help from a pass rush standpoint. But I was thinking of something about them, just to end this on a positive note, since I have them worser as well, and that is this. You think about the spot Michael Thomas landed in with the Saints.
Yep.
Did DK Metcalf land in the exact same situation in Seattle, where he went to the perfect quarterback for his skill set? Nobody throws a better deep ball than Russ. Nobody throws a better deep over than Russ. Metcalf runs those in spades. It's the perfect marriage. You think about the disappointment of draft day, but sometimes it all works out. It worked out for Michael Thomas, who fell in the draft, and I think it worked out for DK Metcalf almost the same.
Great point.
Next.
Thanks.
Higher or lower?
Buffalo is ranked number 2. That's right. I said it. The Buffalo Bills are number 2 in Mike Florio's power poll. That's why he's got a little asterisk based on what happens tonight against Tennessee. I don't think any of us would have Buffalo ranked higher, but should they be lower? Zegura, we'll go with you first.
Yeah, I would say that the Bills are worse than that. I like them. I think this year, 2020, on Cleveland Browns Daily has been a lot of mea culpas about Josh Allen, who has played great, but I'm still not ready to say that the Bills are going through the Chiefs, that the Bills are going through the Ravens, or even the Steelers right now. I just am not ready to say that in the AFC. And then when you think about NFC teams, Seahawks, Packers, so I like them. They are a top 8. They are a top quartile team in the NFL. I want to see them really be tested against somebody. And this Tennessee game would have been a nice barometer, I think, under normal circumstances. Now, if they go out there and blow the doors off of them, I will take notice of that and put them probably in the top 5. But for now, I still think that they are not number 2, but they are not a joke. They are the real deal. This is not a fluke. They are good. They're going to win their division.
Gribble.
Yeah, I got them lower, and I agree with Nathan in that. I think this is a playoff team, and I think they have a great chance of winning that division. But, I mean, let's be honest. I think if they played the Packers, Chiefs, and Ravens tomorrow, I think we're all picking those other teams. I think that's just where the Bills are at now, and they are going to have to probably keep proving us wrong the rest of the season because I'm probably not going to change on that stance.
Oh.
They're 4-0. They have beaten the Jets, Dolphins, Rams, and Raiders. The Rams, they beat after the Rams went back-to-back across the country and with an egregious pass interference call that would have iced it. The Rams should have won that game. So they're 4 wins. There's not a blowout win. They haven't beaten a great team yet. They haven't done that yet. Now they get an opportunity. Titans this week, Chiefs the next, then they get a bye week playing the Jets, then they get the Patriots and the Seahawks. So that's their next 5. 4 of their next 5. And the one after that is Cardinals. So you think about 5 of their next 6 are tough games. Let's see. They would, for that matter, for that point, be worser than where they are. I would not have them. I'd have Green Bay better, Kansas City as well.
Next.
Higher or lower?
The Packers are number 3, coming in at number 4, dropping from 1 to 4. The Kansas City Chiefs, should they be higher or lower? Beau, we'll start with you on this one.
I have them higher. I have them higher than Buffalo. I'd have them higher than Seattle. I would probably have them 2. I would probably have the Packers number 1 if I was doing this, and I would have the Chiefs number 2. I understand the Packers are on the bye week. I give them a pretty good pass for what happened this weekend. All right, you go to Baltimore, play the Ravens in a monster game. You then have to play the Patriots in another monster game in back-to-back weeks, and then you get the Raiders at home, rivalry game. Spagnuolo gambled big on some blitzes, and Henry Ruggs was back and healthy, and Carr made him pay. I give him a pass on it. I do think there are some things, and Mahomes even addressed this, in terms of we've got to stay within the system. It felt like in the game against the Raiders on Sunday, they were trying to hit home runs and play like playground ball a lot. They got to get back to a little bit of structure, more of a wake-up call. I think it's an aberration. I would have him higher.
Gribble.
Yeah, I've got the Chiefs higher. I mean, great teams lose some games sometimes, and I still think they're the team to beat in the entire NFL right now. There's really, even though, I mean, they still were in that game and they hung around. I mean, I just think they're a good team and they had a bad week, and I would still pick them in a game almost over every single team in the NFL right now.
Zegura?
Yeah, they're still the best team. I think this is good. This is a good wake-up call for them. I think at times they are freelancing a little bit. They're being, as Beau likes to say, footloose and fancy free. And really you can't do that week in and week out. When they were motivated and dialed in, and I think the only game this year that they were truly motivated and dialed in for was the Ravens game, they whomped them. It was a whomping, as Pedro would say. So they are definitely better. And I still think they're the number one team in the NFL. If you said in a big game situation, I have them beating everybody, even the Packers.
I think one thing to watch is that Chiefs offensive line. They are pretty dinged up. It'll be interesting to see how that plays as we go down the road here. Next.
Higher or lower?
Number 5 are the Ravens. Number 6, the Patriots at 2-2. That leads us to Pittsburgh at number 7, and this week's opponent for your Cleveland Browns. They are 4-0, up from number 9 to number 7. Should they be higher or lower? Gribble, the floor is yours.
You just said higher or lower. Is Sweet Spot still available? Because that's where I'm putting them.
Yeah, it's available. Right. We make the rules, Grips.
Yeah, I'm putting them. I think they're right where they need to be at number 7. I just think the schedule's been pretty weak so far for them. They've had a bye week. Obviously, they've won all their games, and Chase Claypool is a monster. But are we sure the defense is as good as it was last year? That's the question I'll throw out there, and we'll find out this weekend. That's my one lingering issue with the Steelers right now.
Zegura.
So they're the number 3 defense. They lead the league in sacks and sack yards, despite the fact they've only played 4 games. So there still is a lot of talent there, but certainly you saw what the Eagles were able to do, and that was something I found that to be a little bit eye-opening in that game. That the Eagles team that had been, much beleaguered was hanging with them until the very end when the Steelers did what they had to do for those people who backed them with the scores to get that win and a scores victory as well. I think they're probably sweet spot, top 8 team in the NFL. We're probably their biggest test and vice versa. And I think it's a great game. You got Nance, you got Romo on the call. It's going to be all eyes on Pittsburgh. So they're going to go, there could be a flipping, as you could say, from Top Gun on the 245th anniversary of the Navy. Happy birthday. They were inverted.
Bishop on that.
They're better. They're certainly better than New England, so they have to be better than that. They would beat New England head-to-head right now. And I think a couple of things for context. They beat the Giants in the opener. Saquon Barkley did play in that game. He was injured in that game. They beat the Broncos in the second game. They did that. Drew Lock was playing in that game. They beat the Texans, and then they beat the Eagles. And the Eagles game was closer than it should have been. Eric Ebron with 2 fumbles in back-to-back drives. And that crippled them from that standpoint and allowed Philly to get back into the game even more so than ever. They're not great, but this Claypool thing is certainly interesting, and I do have them better than New England, so they're better.
Next.
Higher or lower?
All right, we're going to skip down a few here. Tennessee 8, the Rams 9, Saints 10, Browns 11, 12 are the Bears, 13th are the Raiders. That takes us to number 14. I know a team that Zegura is high on, but is everybody else. The Carolina Panthers are 14th and 3-2 on the football season. Should they be higher, lower, or are they just right? Zegura, we'll get you out of the way because you're jonesing already.
Oh, Theodore. Oh, Theodore. Just so darn good. 2nd in the NFL in completion percentage, 5th in passing yards. He is just a leader. Steady Teddy, they're calling him down there in Carolina. He's been sensational. Look, they're beating people. They're tied for first in the NFC South. Who had that? Them, the Bucs, the Saints. Who had it? Nobody saw this coming. I think it's great. definitely deserve to be in the top half of the NFL because Teddy's playing so well. Their offense is pretty darn good. Who needs Christian McCaffrey? Mike Davis is playing great. Robbie Anderson, welcome back. You've got DJ Moore. They can throw it. They're playing tough defense. Matt Rule's instilling. It's about culture. I hear Beau Bishop talk about culture a lot. Apparently, there's a culture in Carolina. There's a buy-in. And I like that. I like what I see. I'm going to say sweet spot because I don't think many people would have had him in the top 16. Florio, on the money here.
Gribble?
I'm putting them lower. I agree. I mean, they're doing a lot better in Arkansas. I thought they'd be in the Trevor Lawrence state this season, but they've played themselves out of that almost already. But I can't believe I'm saying this, but I like the Bucs and the Colts better than the Panthers right now. I think that they've got more of a long-term future this season than the Panthers. I think this is a nice run that they're going on. I think the talent is going to catch up to them as the season goes on.
Bishop?
Listen, the real thing that I have an issue with right now, Gibbe, is that I have had to go last on every one of these.
Yeah, I want to hear Beau first. So do the people.
It goes. Your order every time has gone Zegura, Gribble, and then one of them gets the fall. Then I got to go last.
Or Gribble,
trying to say something that hasn't been said. Now I know I got a lot of talent. I'm a big B and I can handle it, but it's enough.
Of course you can.
You're shading all of it. They get all the first takes on all this stuff, and I got to try.
He's freezing you out, dude. It's a patented Gibby move. You're getting frozen out. It's like Matty Lowe in high school basketball at the Rowe Catholic Mariners. Froze me out, kept me from T1. Just give me the rock, baby. I'll put the biscuit in the basket.
Let me shoot. Higher. Betterer. Because of the Saints. I think they're better than the Saints right now.
All right, time to break, guys. That's going to wrap it up. I'm sorry, Beau, that you didn't get to go first on any of these.
Wow.
Just an egregious shot. An egregious shot. Thank you, Gribbs. Appreciate you a great deal as always.
Gribbs.
We'll have more fun again next week. A reminder, all guests, including Sir Andrew, who appear on CBD, do so via the Fifth Third Money Line, Fifth Third Bank, making Cleveland Browns Daily a Fifth Third better. So much more to come. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Nominations for the 2020 Helmets program are now being accepted. Zenith invites you to nominate your Ohio high school to receive a $25,000 worth of new Zenith helmets. Visit promotions.clevelandbrowns.com to learn more. How did we do on the Ohio Lottery poll, Gibbe? How did that all turn out on the Browns Daily Ohio Lottery poll?
Gibbe, I know Gibbe voted against me.
I did vote for Beau. 67% favoring Zegura.
Just a drubbing for the flag football
I look at that
players.
as more of a slight against the state of Montana than anything else.
Actually, it's closer to 70% for Zegura and 30% for Beau.
No respect for padded football on this program, clearly.
No one respects Montana.
I came out and said my peak involved flag football, but I can throw the ball.
It's sad. Oh, I've seen you spin it. I know
You're
you
just
can.
feeding into the Zegura mentality that he can play at the next level.
Let's make this happen. I don't care that I'm 42. Let's get me in a preseason game. What better reality show is there than that? It could be over for me.
The fire.
Only if I turn it into a Disney movie. Otherwise, I'm going to end up in a hospital. There are only two outcomes. Disney,
two ways
hospital.
I'll set up the Comrex next
level. Next level is up next. We're back tomorrow. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
All right.